Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 313, Life in the Fast Lane, number 15, Too Fast, Too Furious, minute 90. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe, too.
And Joe, let us dive right into that aforementioned. I want to try the same.
What?
I want to try that same format we had last time, see if it works again. Start with the minute.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like starting with the minute. That doesn't bother me.
And finally, it
What?
might be the name of the minute. I don't know. It might be too obvious. It's the minute.
Oh, I like that so much better. Okay, cool. Just the minute.
The minute? Oh, just the minute? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a better title than going with the very obvious one.
The minute. Because I can't do cap, like caps doesn't work, but yes, the minute.
Yes, I think, okay. But I like that. Tentatively, for now, that's a really good placeholder. Because I was like, oh, it's going to be so obvious if we do the normal thing, and I kind of don't like that.
I mean, it's going to be the art anyway, you know what I mean? But
oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let it go! Ejectocito, cuz! It worked! I love this button! Stay on your toes, Puto! Mr. O'Connor, it worked, baby. Blow and go. I'm all clear. Meet me at the point. Hurry up, man. It's on, baby.
All right, 10-4, man.
Are you ready? Let's go! Raise your hands! Raise your hands! Raise your hands! Clear!
It's not Verón and Fuentes.
What do you mean not Verón and Fuentes? Then where the hell are they?
So in the minute, Roman presses the button and Ejectocito's Roberto out of his car. Driving down the highway, short one door, Roman tells Brian his plan, or their plan, worked. Meanwhile, Markham and his agents close in on an SUV on the airstrip, only to find it's not Verón and Fuentes inside the car. Markham updates Bilkins, who's now in the helicopter. Bilkins is confused. Brian gets ready to inject Enrique from his car as the minute ends. And this is something that, we thought we might get last minute. We knew we were going to get this minute when we didn't last minute, but we finally get the Ejectocito cuz.
Absolutely.
Very
Iconic.
exciting.
I think that this minute ends really goofily on the Brian stare, especially because I watched it like 15 times for this. Like, his eyes and when he's getting ready to push the button are so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Western stare down.
He's very serious.
He's very, very serious. So when I was watching it this time, I was like, oh, God. Like, I forgot that it was like this much time, because it's actually like 5 or 10 seconds at the end, and it's just like his eyes just glaring at the thing. So
It is, like almost like in the last minute, we're like, are we going to get the Ejectocito? Because it happens like in the first 3 or 4 seconds here. And we're like, are we going to get the Brian? Well, it's not. Like, I know that he doesn't do it, but like, will he have the change of heart in this minute, or will it be the next minute? And like, again, it's that cusp where just like, not yet. Gotta wait.
I liked starting this minute dead on with the Ejectocito cuz
Very
off the
fun.
rip. Yeah.
So there's not a lot for me in this minute. There's the not Verón guy, who I don't think we know. The guy in the red shirt that they pull out the SUV. I think he's just like a dude that like one of maybe Carter Verón's henchmen. And then the song I think changes from Tej and Suki Praised into Change of Plans. But other than that, there's not a lot for me to find. The only note that I made is the trivia question we'll get to in a little bit, but also, tentative trivia question. But also, when Markham's group pulls up on the SUV, there's at least 4 SUVs and at least 8 people, though it seems like way more, but I can only see 8 at any one point.
It's 3 of their SUVs pulling up on what they think is Carter Verón's SUV, yes.
And that's all that I got. So what did you find? Did you find locations, people, objects, items, places?
Yep, in the document, the airstrip is the Dade Collier Training and Transition Center. Mm-hmm. You can see it's just like a little airstrip in, bumfuck Dade County. It's like in like a wildlife management area. It's very, very strange. Go check it out on Google Maps.
Okay.
Kind of weird. Found the SUVs when we get the shot of Roman pushing the button and it going through to Ejectocito cuz him. There's this pressure meter there that's JoJo Tech.
Okay.
I don't think that's a real company. I mean, it's clearly like CGI'd, right? Because it's like going through the thing. But I couldn't find any record of there being a JoJo Tech pressure meters, whatever company. So weird, but that's what they went with.
That's
I don't know.
That's Joe 3 for us. Joe 3,
Yeah.
Joe 4, JoJo Tech.
Yes. So I said something to you right before we started recording.
Oh yeah, you have like some mea culpa apology or something, or some kind of brain. What happened? Because I didn't understand what you were saying before we started.
As you know, a lot of times, like when I'm looking for the cars and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
the easiest place to find them is what, Joey?
The Internet Movie Car Database.
Yes. And then, so I found the cars. Then I was like, hey, Markham's in the field here. You know what I found that one time?
The Internet Movie Firearm Database.
Yes. So I was like, oh, sick. So I'm like, man, I wonder what that jet in the background is.
Oh, is there
Guess
an Internet
what?
Movie Jet Database?
There is
Plane
an
database.
Internet Movie Plane Database. Yes, there is.
Oh, they have a terrible logo, but all right.
Yes, it's not very great, but they had the fucking jet in there. And then I went back and remember last minute I didn't know what the helicopter was. Mm-hmm. They did, so I filled that in too. So
Oh, this is like a nice wiki that they have here.
it's pretty much exactly the same as the Internet Movie Firearm Database. Like just like the setup of it.
Yeah, nice screenshots, nice clear text of like with the headers and like what they are and
Yep, everything. So, just because we hadn't, like, there was kind of helicopters and shit in this one, I didn't get to a plane to have the consideration to look for Internet Plane Movie Database until now, and I'm like, okay, tuck this in our back pockets.
Yep.
Because this is, like, the first movie, like, there's not planes in the last one, right? But there will be planes in the future,
Well, not every movie, but most of the movies going forward, we're gonna have planes. Although, when are we gonna have planes again? Because there's not really. Well, there's no real planes in 3, right? Tokyo Drift. There's no real.
No,
planes
there is, because Sean rides on a plane.
But do we see that plane?
We see him on the plane.
Oh, right, crying with the babies and stuff, or not? He's
Yes,
not crying,
yeah,
but the
yeah.
babies are crying.
So you get 1 in 3.
I
4,
don't-
I'm not sure
I don't think
about.
there are any even 4. I don't know that there are. I mean, oh well, there's in 5. I think maybe Hobbs gets off a plane early. 6
Yes,
obviously
yes,
has
like a helicopter. Like
6
there's
is the
definitely
world's longest
helicopters.
runway.
Yeah.
7 has helicopters, mostly Jaconda. 8, there's the saving the baby on the plane. Yeah, so like really from 6 on, it's serious, but from 3 and 5, there's going to be at least one time you'll have to use it. So that's good to have. Good resource.
No, but just like something to know, especially when we're
sure.
looking at other movies and stuff too. I'm just an idiot that I didn't. I mean, you know, like Rule 34. If you
probably-
can imagine it. It probably exists,
there's probably
right?
3 or 4 others. Like every time.
I'm sure. Yes. Oh wait, wasn't there a watch one? Didn't we use the watch one for one of them too?
There's probably like a fashion one. I don't know if there's I mean, there's probably a watch specific one, but there's probably a fashion one if we're like, you know, trying to figure out like what, whatever clothing Monica Fuentes is wearing or whatever, right? Like, but I'm thinking like, you know, when specifically like with the Bear, because the Bear layers all these like big songs that maybe you haven't heard in a while, like under its stuff. And like, there's like all these sites that are like explaining every, like traditional blogs, but also like sites dedicated to just like sounds, like not even just IMDb, because like IMDb is not great for TV, but like episodes of TV shows, soundtrack score, whatever. So like stuff that I'm doing here, like the clothing, like the music, I could probably use too. Like there's probably all sorts of things that we are not taking full advantage of just because we haven't thought to look.
Something to keep in mind. Maybe it'll help us remember to do this for other things too. But
Very cool.
in this instance, I'm glad that I have it, and yes, made me happy.
Very cool. Anything else of note that you found in this minute?
No, I think that's it. I think that's it.
Like I was thinking, because I watched this, you know, a bunch of times as we both normally do, and like the first time I didn't have like a lot of notes, and I'm just like, am I just so excited that we got Ejectocita that like I'm blocking out other
No,
stuff? And
you're
there's like,
not.
there's not that much. There is. Roman says a lot of words in a row, like because the way that I copy like the website I've been using to pull, what's the name of the website? Scripts.com, where I pull the script from. It's formatted really, really weird, and it's not particularly helpful. And there's no like, there's like weird line breaks. There's
I have
no
a
character
feeling.
names.
I have a feeling like somebody made this in Notepad in like 2003
Probably
when this
just
movie
pasted it
came
in,
out,
yeah.
and then it's like, oh, well, here we got it, and nobody ever like cared enough to like reformat
Right. Yeah.
it.
Probably. And so I just copy and paste this whole thing in. So I'm trying to gauge, like, before I before I like watch the minute, I just like put a bunch in and I'm trying to like figure out like who says what. And I'm like, well, this could be Brian because I know that's Roman talking, but maybe it's Brian dropping whatever. And like, no, it's like it's Roman. And then Brian says, all right. And it's just like, oh, okay, cool. But, the trivia question that I have, and again, I don't know that it's fair, and it's very similar to the last question. The last question we had was how many times does Roman slam Roberto's head into the dashboard? How many times do we see Roman push the ejecto-cedo button?
I was thinking that, but because it's fully in view but confusing, I would go with like a similar question of how many black SUVs are on the runway.
Let's take another look just to be
There's four.
confirmed.
There's 3 Markhams and a Navigator, but that's 4 total black SUVs.
So his team rolls up in 3.
3.
And they converge on a 4th.
Yes. But then you get the other shot and it only looks like there's 2.
Okay.
And then you get the other shot and then it looks like there's 3, but they don't show you the 4th one. Do you like that better, worse?
I think they're both kind of shitty, to be honest, but I think either one is fine because there's not.
What are some of the like?
We could say I don't know. Roman calls Brian Mr. O'Connor. We could say who's in the SUV, but we don't really know the guy's name.
Yeah.
Jojo Check is too blink and you'll miss it. That's not really fair. Bilkins and helicopter kind of makes sense as a thing, but not really obvious or like.
Mr. O'Connor is like the only other one that I think that we could pivot to. Like what interesting name does Roman call?
Well, he also says
Brian?
because I was going to put baby in, but he also calls him baby too. It's on baby.
I think that's. I don't think he's calling him baby. I think that's like just a phrase.
It worked, baby. It's on baby.
I was like, let's go, baby, to you. I wouldn't be saying that to you, I don't think. Like, you wouldn't be misconstrued that I was calling you baby.
But I can also see Roman as the kind of guy who calls people baby and doesn't just say baby. I can see it both ways with him. I think one of our existing questions, we'll just do the how many total black SUVs. 2, 3, 4, 5, right? How many total black SUVs do we see on the airstrip when Markham thinks he's taking down Verona and Fuentes? 2, 3, 4, 5. The answer is 4.
4.
There are 4 though total. It's very visibly clear that there are 4.
Yeah, and that's like confusing because there's one that they have. You know that it's. I would think at least 2, probably 3. 4 is like, and 5 is like, did I miss one somewhere? So I think that's as good as we can get here.
And realistically, people are gonna be like, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Also, what's fun is that the answer to both the last 2 questions are both 4.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Which both helps and makes it harder, I think.
Do you want to call this minute the minute or Internet Movie Minute Database?
Ooh.
Which one do you like better?
Internet movie. Wait, so it's Internet
It's always Internet Movie something database.
car database, right?
Yeah, and firearm database and Internet Movie plane database.
So Internet movie minute database.
Yes.
Okay, that's better. Oh, that's fine.
I think it's dumber. It's dumber, but it makes it further away from Ejecto-Cedo, cuz.
So minute 90, Internet movie minute database. How many total black SUVs do we see in the airstrip when Markham thinks he's taking down Verona and Fuentes? The answer is once again 4.
That's a good title. That's weird enough. I like that how that plays as a title.
Fair, tough, but doable.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Joe, on the streets, news about the Fast and Furious.
They're on strike. That's the
the
news.
thing. I know that's the news. So
the news is that they're not making it right now.
the Fast 10 Blu-ray 4K is out in like 2 weeks on August 8th. Actually, no, when this episode comes out, so we're doing this a couple days early because we have to do an extra one this week. This episode comes out August 1st. So if you're listening to the main feed, 1 week from today, the Fast 10 Blu-ray 4K is out. Available.
And there's no news about if there's a director's cut, extra scenes, nothing yet.
Let me take a look at Blu-ray.com.
Yeah, because I know sometimes they put that stuff up early that's like with like 14 extra minutes of unseen footage.
I don't think they've detailed...
Because I also haven't seen a commercial for it yet. Do they still do those, Joey?
No, I think they would do like commercials for
Now available on
the
demand?
movie, like, buy or rent it today, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So on Blu-ray.com, the first, so there's like, I guess there's like an automated or someone manually like does like a post that just like, let's talk about this release. And the first reply to this one is, I'm really hoping this is the last one. I keep buying these for completion's sake, but I was burned out a few movies ago. I couldn't even finish the last one. Now I know that I have completion brain. But I'm not buying movies I don't like or enjoy because I want to own the complete set of a thing. Like that's...
Yeah, like, hey, buddy, you don't have to do that. Nobody's forcing you to buy the rest of the movies that you don't like. Just, you know what? Even better, just sell the first 6 that you have and stop. Be like, I don't like those movies anymore. Now I have none of them, right?
Someone's like, they should have ended after Furious 7. Someone's like, Marvel should have ended after Endgame. And someone else is just like, are you comparing the Marvel movies to Fast and Furious? Yeah, man.
Boy, do we not have a podcast for that.
Boy, do we not. Wow, people are... No, I cannot... Let's see if there's any... I'm trying to find... There's the nice Steelbook at Best Buy, which I have pre-ordered. I'm trying to see if there's... No, I don't think that there's...
Like, even, like, screenshots of the... I mean, it's, like, shots of what the case looks like and shit.
There's no listing. There's just the front. So, yeah, no, I don't know. But
whenever you get the Steelbook, I'm sure you're going to post a picture of it, right?
Yeah. So what's annoying... What was annoying about...
Don't you usually get them 2 days early, too, with Best Buy?
I've been getting them on Saturday, so I'll probably get it on Saturday the 5th. When I'm still out of town, I will probably get it. What's annoying about the Blu-rays is that, like, the disc, even the 4K, will be, like, the theatrical usually, but then the digital code will be the extended version, if there is one. So, like, you can either watch the really high-quality one as you saw it in theaters, and as we watched it again at home. But yeah, it's
I'm so
weird.
fucking over this. Like, if they wanted to fix this and have people buy DVDs and Blu-rays, then like, why don't you just do it the right fucking way? How hard is it for you to
make people like me happy, and people make this guy who like doesn't want to keep buying this but keeps buying them happy? I don't know.
Yeah,
very weird. So that's that number one. 2 other things. Christopher Nolan loves the Fast and Furious movies. He especially loves Tokyo Drift, which is cool.
That's feels weird and on brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for him to be like, Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift is my favorite one, is pretty wild to me.
It's very funny.
Yeah, I want him to come in. He should. Oh, what if he like got a Fast and the Furious, like a spin-off movie? Like, what if it was like the buddy cop Tej and Roman movie, and it's like Christopher Nolan directing it?
Yeah, he's out here talking about how he wants to direct, like directing a Bond movie would be an honor, but just like, well, what if you did a Fast and Furious movie?
Right? Like, you just had this like really Christopher Nolan-y one just like dropped in randomly. You'd be like, what the fuck was that?
There, on the other side of the coin, James Wan apparently had such a bad time on Furious 7 that he like went back to making the Insidious movies or whatever. I think it's Insidious, but he's just like, I can't do this. This is terrible. So I guess maybe it's a Vin thing, maybe it's a studio thing, maybe it's the pressures of a 7th in a franchise that you haven't been involved with. But like
that, or just blockbuster, you know what I mean? Like the idea of like having a cast of 40 and fucking all this shit. The logistics, right?
Yeah, because he was doing the Saws, he was doing the Insidious movies. Like he's mostly into, like, he's done a lot of the.
That's money, but that's not like on the scale of having to make a Fast and the Furious movie. So I can see just like logistics, workload, things like that. Wise, you'd be like, I don't want to ever do that again. Like, I'm not making Marvel movies here. Like, I'd rather just do smaller shit.
He's also out here doing the sequel to the Aquaman movie, which is apparently in like disastrous trouble. So. But yeah, Aquaman, Conjuring 2, Furious 7, Insidious Chapter 2, The Conjuring, Insidious. But he mostly just does horror movies, and he's like, all right, let's try Furious 7. It's like, yeah, of course you're going to have a terrible experience. Like, that's a totally different ballgame. I think that's all the news. Did you see anything else?
No, there hasn't, because it's just Strike and Barbenheimer is all that's happening.
Mike and I talked about on Cruise Club when we did Dead Reckoning Part 1 that both Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 2 and Dead Reckoning Part 2 are both supposed to come out next early summer. And we were like...
But they said it took them like 5 years to make the Into the Spider-Verse Part 1.
I think they were doing them together at the same time, I think.
Okay.
But, you know, we talked about, obviously, on here a lot that, like, Fast 10 Part 2 is going to be 2 years out. There's the Hobbs movie in the middle, whatever, who knows. Now they're even saying that Mission Impossible might not even come out next summer. So, like, I don't know when we're going to get these Fast and Furious movies. I think that this is going to be like worse than COVID because people still worked through COVID. Like, it was expensive, but they still like made it work and they made other stuff. But like, this is, no one is working basically. And so this is going to mess things up.
And through COVID, it was kind of like, maybe they were doing the work and putting it out, but they were just scared to release it. Remember? Because like Fast 10 should have. I mean, Fast 9 should have been done.
It was done. They were just like, no one's going to see it. We don't want to lose money on it. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
So they just like held it back. That's different than it like not being made. I agree.
Yeah, and this is. I just, I don't want to be like too much of a downer on this, but like I don't know, we're gonna say like this might be a long time. Hopefully not, and hopefully like things don't like radically change in terms of plans, but it might.
We've been through it. We lived through it once. We'll live through it again.
I know. I just, at a certain point, I just want these not to be over, but like I want to know how this ends.
I don't. Well, we weren't going to learn that for 2 years anyway. So
but now I don't want
going
to be like
3
years, 3 years,
yeah,
4 years, right? I don't know. No other news. Dwayne Johnson's still in Fast 11, as far as we know. Fast 10 Part 2.
He hasn't rage quit yet, but he's also not working on movies, so who knows?
We have a Patreon page, toofast2forever.com. Shout out to our beautiful, wonderful, generous patrons, Cassie Wilson, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Wes Hampton, who doesn't listen to these episodes really, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke Hayden, Renato Donato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Jason Rainey, Tom Price, Mike Gallier, Josh Buckley of Whole Lotta Wolves,
Yep,
Michael Moser, Christian Larson, Tara Newan, Aaron Wolozin, Natalie Absolute, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all so much. I think the thing in there about Wes, because Wes will message us and be like, great episode, and here's a thought. And we're like, yeah, dude, we talked about that for 5 minutes.
No. Usually he writes in as it goes, and then he's like, oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, you did bring this up later. He'll like write like a whole thing out, and we're like, yeah, bud, we just keep listening.
Speaking of things that Wes did not hear, we do have a Discord. If you want to join the Discord, DM us on Twitter, email in, or it's pinned on Patreon. Or maybe not pinned on Patreon, but there's a post on Patreon about it. So if you want to join the Discord, there's a bunch of people over there chatting it up, talking about these movies, these episodes, all that sort of stuff. So go do that. It's a pretty fun way to have a community and
talk to
with
us
talk to each other. So
Lane and I watched the F1 race this morning.
Very exciting. We also have an email address, family@cageclub.me. So we got a handful of emails today. First off, I think we mentioned her name a couple times already, but Natalie Absolute became a $5 patron, so thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, Natalie.
Natalie also wrote, Am I the First? This is not a thing that I knew or I remembered you could do, but like Patreon has like not a public message board, but like they have like a message board. So like patrons can like talk there. So she was the first one to do it, which I guess I didn't even know. Like I subscribe to 4 or 5 different Patreons for different podcasts.
And you've never found this tab of like message board?
No, because like Patreon's weird. Where like you can like people do comment like on ones where I subscribe where there's like people are very
posts
whatever.
Like when you like release an episode or something, it's like a feed.
It's a feed. Like you can comment, but like for me, like I'm not going there because like you get an email that like has the full body of the post, and like you're subscribed in your podcatcher, and so it's going to go to your phone anyway.
In this,
so, like,
in the format of like having a patron for a podcast and you having the special feed. Makes it kind of unnecessary to have to use. It's not like it's not pictures of our genitals or something where you'd have to go there to see it.
I did post the picture of Montez picture of us when she was trying to remember the Montez minute, and she was thinking so hard. And I didn't put that on Twitter, but I put it on the Patreon. So there's sometimes every once in a while, once every 6 or 8 months, maybe there's a picture to go check out there. But like you get an email too, unless you turn off email notifications. But it's like, hey, new picture posted, blah blah blah, whatever. But I do like Natalie for breaking new ground for christening this
appreciated
message board. I don't even know what you would call it, but something like that. But she says, hello, Joey and Joe too. I don't know how to change my Patreon handle. Absolute Natalie was my college username for everything because I loved vodka. Well, okay.
You're with family, Natalie. Although I'm on Buddies right now because it's $16 a handle, so can't beat that.
She says, now I'm asleep at 9 and avoid caffeine after 3.
Welcome to the good life.
I live in the Bay Area, and I've watched The Fast and Furious since its inception in 2001. After watching the first Fast in theaters, other moviegoers were so hyped they started racing in the mall parking lot. I was both aghast and impressed. I've been a loyal Fast and Furious fan for the past 22 years, and when I talk about it, friends often respond to me with "still?" ? So
exactly. There's dozens of us.
And then she sent in an email separately with her rankings. So from top down, as she has them, number 1, Too Fast, seen this near 100 times.
That's your favorite one? That's awesome. We don't get enough Too Fast love.
Then she has number 2, the original, The Fast and the Furious. Number 3, a little wild here, Hobbs and Shaw, a movie that people no longer rank. She is number 3.
Okay, I thought it was a ton of fun.
Number 4, Tokyo Drift. Number 5, Fast 5. Number 6, Fast and Furious 6. Number 7, 7. So 5, 6, 7 are 5, 6, 7. Number 8, Fast and Furious, the reboot. Number 4. Number 9 is Fate. Number 10 is 9. And number 11 is Fast 10. So these most recent 3 core installments she likes the least. 8, 9, 10 are 9, 10, 11. But Hobbs and Shaw very high and loves Too Fast. So she's got people in Mark. Mark Hoffmeyer and her might be the only people we have ranked who have number 2 as number 1.
That's awesome. It being linked to Mark's specific brand of awesome is something I aspire that I could have done.
Oh, I also want to Justin Kleiman in our rankings right now. Justin has number 2 as number 1, and John Keel, who wrote it a long time ago, also has it number 1. So we have 4, but that's still elite company. So thank you, Natalie.
That's top tier. That is.
Also, people, you don't need to confirm, but I hope that like everybody who joins at the $5 level or above, I've been sending out your stickers. So I hope you get them. I hope the addresses that you provided are right. So but there's stickers and handwritten notes and stuff in the mail to you. So hopefully you got them.
Stickers are pretty cool. Yeah. I keep some in my car. I keep them right in the. This is not even a lie. I keep them in the door of the car.
It's a good
to
place
spread the good word. Whenever you need to.
We got an email from Alex that I was going to read on a Patreon, but I can read it here. So we talked about Snakes on a Plane as a bonus episode. And he says, I can't believe you guys didn't talk about the ultimate fast action in this movie. Because he messaged me about this and just like...
What is this?
We talked about
okay.
Elsa Pataki. And he's like, no.
Yeah,
her.
Elena's there. Okay, who?
And this is someone that I even looked up and I just did not scroll low enough to find. Nathan Phillips, who is the male lead in this, the guy who is, the main dude who's going to testify, is also the male lead from Redline. Redline, also what the original Fast movie was known as, but that shitty movie that Alex had us watch, Redline, not the animated one.
That was like the best. Let's learn the facts behind this movie ever. It was like, this guy, the housing crisis was like because of this movie, right? He like bankrupt that. Sorry, I knew it was something like the movie caused something very, very chaotic, and it was the housing crisis.
Like I remember, I looked at his Letterboxd. We talked about him. I'm like, he's in all these horror movies that like you've heard of but you haven't seen, and then I just didn't scroll low enough to see like the 13th most popular movie he's been in is one we talked about. Redline. So
that makes sense.
Apologies, Alex.
Were they in a cave in that movie at some point? Because now that I think that I remember him being in a cave.
The making of Redline, or what? Or in Redline?
In the movie Redline, the one that was not the animated one. You don't remember at all.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah,
but I tried to block that movie out entirely.
Yeah, probably.
But sorry, Alex. But thank you, Alex. And our last email today is from Tara, who sends in lap 4 thoughts.
Okay.
Hey, Lou and Tim.
Tara's back. What's up, Tara?
Finish another lap.
She's cranking. She's going fast. Because remember, the laps are getting longer, and she keeps going at the same pace.
Mm-hmm. Just finished lap 4, so it's time for me to email in again. First, I want to start by saying I absolutely love your guests. You guys do a great job of picking people with fun or interesting takes. Kate Hudson, it's the Kate Hudson lap, had some fascinating takes on 7 that echo some of my own. I'll be sharing when I finish lap 7. For now, though, let's talk about Fast and Furious. Okay. I feel like this movie was adapted from the version of the Too Fast script they made if they got Vin. That's why a lot of the story beats are the same. That makes sense. That's logical.
That's a new thought that I haven't thought before. Yeah.
On one of the director commentaries, they mention how they often turn to video games for inspirations for the action scenes. I feel like the GPS race was inspired by games like GTA or Saints Row. I can't tell you how many times I've been playing a game like that and had the in-the-game GPS take me 3 miles out of my way to get to someplace half a mile away, and I'm just like, nah, I'll just drive down this embankment instead.
100%, yeah. That's how it works.
I believe Joe is somewhat a fan of wrestling, but I'm not sure he's familiar with the term jobber. If he is, he can explain it, and if not, I can. Do you know what a jobber is?
Yeah, it's a guy that just goes in and gets, like, beat up every night. He's not going to be a star. He's, like, the guy, he's just, like, a bottom tier. Like, he's going to, there's a bunch of these guys, right? That, like, The Rock will fight these guys, and they'll just lose. But it's not Stone Cold, right? It's just, like, some random guy.
Tara describes it as someone who's there to look tough, but make the other person look tougher and basically intentionally lose.
There you go. I
yeah.
think Tara's description is better, but we were tiptoeing around
Right there,
the same
yeah.
thing.
The only thing I think you were missing was that like they're not just like some kind of like pushover, like an easy like a cupcake win, right? But it's just
Oh no. They're gonna lose. You're not gonna win.
Tara says, I find it amusing that Gal Gadot's role in this movie is basically a romantic jobber whose role it is to showcase how in love with Dom is with Lenny that he turned down a total smoke show. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
That's a good point. Yeah.
As much as Pitbull shows up on the soundtracks of these movies, I'm surprised he hasn't made a cameo in one of these movies yet. I didn't even know Pitbull existed until the 2010s, but Too Fast had him on the soundtrack all the way back in 2003. Does seem like Pitbull should be like in a club somewhere, or like maybe instead of T-Pain, he was DJing or something, right? Like it seems like he could have been around. Should have been around.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Other than that, all I have to say about this movie is that I'm not really a fan. I tried to watch this on 2 different occasions and fell asleep both times. It's the least favorite of the 4
somber.
I've talked about so far. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll catch you after the next lap, Tara. Yeah, it is somber. That's a good word for it.
That's so I get the coloring, the pace, the tone. I can understand why you'd fall asleep during it. Mm-hmm. But it's okay. We got 10 more of these to choose from. So.
Yep. I think Tara's list goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe in that order. Past emails had the rankings as she wrote about them, but this I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4 if I remember right. But after Tara finishes lap 5, we'll get an update. So hopefully, Fast 5 up there. Who knows? But that's all the emails. If you want to email in family@cageclub.me. We also have a store, cageclub.me/shop. And if you have not yet left us a review on Apple Podcasts in the US, please do that. Please and thank you. I'm gonna take one more look right now. People don't generally, because I think you have to go out of your way. And I think most of our hardcore, dedicated premier podcast listeners have already done it. If you've not yet,
that's
though.
true.
Oh, Tara says, I rate this podcast 10 fasts out of 10 furiouses, 5 stars. Thank you, Tara.
Well, thank you, Tara. That was very nice. Well, that was very serendipitous. It sounded like a setup, to be honest.
No, I did not.
You sounded like you. I know you didn't, but it sounded like you did. You're like, oh, here's an email from Tara. Thanks, Tara. Then you're like, let's see if we have any new reviews. Thanks, Tara.
The final thing to do before we end this episode, and it's not very long, so hopefully you've been doing stuff, is extracurricular activities. Joe, what have you been up to in the last 3 weeks? Anything? Nothing? Something?
I have been trying to lay low because it's been hot as fuck everywhere in the world, especially here. Love Island started back up again. Love Island US. So I've been watching these.
You watch
idiots.
Love Island UK or no?
No, I could never get into it. Everybody always says, I know, it's better. But I can't get into it. And Love Island US is on. But, oh, dude, Comcast is such... I was having a convoluted way of having Peacock, and you know that Comcast stopped their partnership with Peacock, so now you have to, like, buy it no matter what. Lame.
Well, they didn't, like, stop the partnership, because that's still owned by the same company, but they'd stopped, I guess, the promotion.
Yeah, because it was like if you had, like, a Comcast login...
You got, like, the cheapo thing or whatever, right?
You got zero... It was $0.
Yeah, okay.
You would just, like, be able to use Peacock. Other thing that I know you haven't watched yet, but I've been talking to you about... is
Quarterback.
We started watching Quarterbacks on Netflix. It's like the show about Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota.
It's a very weird blend of people.
It sounds so weird, but and it's not 3 quarterbacks that I care about, but the show is actually really good. I was like kind of worried because it was like Peyton's production company, but it's on Netflix, and I was like, I wonder if it's gonna feel like a Peyton production or like a Netflix sports documentary, because I've talked about the Untolds and like everything else I like watching, and it feels way more like that or Hard Knocks than it does like Peyton trying to do a show.
Sure.
Right? It's really good. It makes them all seem like very human. As a fan of some, like as not a fan of any of these guys, it's cool to see. Like, and I was really scared that the Mahomes clan would make me very, very upset about it, but it's not about them. Good. It's about quarterbacks, like them themselves, and like the things that they go through and do. So it's like one episode's about pain, and one episode's about the play calls, and like things.
Are they
like
an hour?
that.
Or are they half an hour?
45.
45. Okay.
Anyways, give it a check. Even if like you were like, I don't care about this, the show's well produced and good, so I was enjoying that. And then the last thing was on Friday night we went to go see Oppenheimer. I haven't seen Barbie yet. We're doing that tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're recording this on Sunday instead of Wednesday because, again, we have to do 2 episodes this week. So let's save Oppenheimer. Let's talk about Oppenheimer. Let's do spoilers for Oppenheimer at the end of this.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I want to talk to you about it here.
Yeah.
Yep, cool. Okay.
Anything else of note? Go anywhere, do anything, watch anything?
I went to go visit my friend's 2 of my friends here bought a house
Cool.
new to them, and went to go visit them yesterday. Both of their parents were there. It was really cute. They have a pool. We played in the pool. Somebody brought their kids. Just chill day, hanging out with friends.
Sweet.
But no, that's pretty much it. I have some plans for this weekend coming up, so.
Cool. I went to a concert. I saw The Smile, which is the Radiohead spin-off band with Tom and Johnny. So I saw them, I think the day after we recorded the last episode, I went to see them. So that was fun. Olivia Wilde was there. I did not see her in person, but I saw her Instagram story.
Okay.
She was like...
Where was it at?
It was at Forest Hills in Queens, which is where I've seen Phoebe play, and I saw Boy Genius play. Like, it's a tennis court, like in the middle of a Queens neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, when you were talking about Boy Genius coming to New Haven, so remember we were talking about it, and it's like, it's not the Yale Bowl, it's the Yale music thing?
Yes.
Somebody told me, when I was just, like, talking to somebody at work out loud, like, oh, my buddy's, like, band that he likes is there. It's a tennis court as well. It's a redone tennis court.
Okay. Yeah, this is, like, a very nice, it's, like, a pain in the ass to get to, because, like, you have to drive through... Like, I drive through, like, Staten Island, and then Brooklyn, and then Queens to get there. And it's just, like, it's, like,
okay.
Like, this is the one that took me, when I saw Phoebe there last summer, it took me 3 hours and 8 minutes, and getting home takes, like, 70, because it's just, like, it can be a nightmare of traffic and accidents and whatever. But once you're there, the venue is really cool. But, like, getting there, it's just, like, ugh. But they were great. That was really fun. I went to New York because a friend of mine who's actually the co-commissioner with me in our fantasy baseball league is taking an improv class at UCB in New York. So Bob and I went in there last weekend to go support him, which was fun. It was like nice to see his performance and, meet his friends and so on and so forth.
Was Brian's friend there? Brian's friend that goes to the Mets games with us that also does improv?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I've been to this theater before. Like, it's like kind of this like repurposed office space that like, or office building maybe, that has like these like a couple different improv spaces. So like, I'm sure that he's probably performed there before.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
It seems like a popular sort of locale. And then last night I hung out with Dr. Chris Podcast and his friends. We played Rock Band for a long time.
How's he?
He's good. I met his girlfriend. He was dating long distance, or is dating a long distance. She lives in California. I don't remember how they met. I think she was maybe here and then she went up there for school, or she was here for school. I don't know. But she lives in California. But I finally met her after hearing about her for like a year. Yeah, and she's wonderful. Cool. So shout out to Dr. Chris Podcasts.
I hope he's happy and having a good time. That's awesome.
Seems to be good. Let me build up to Oppenheimer. What else did I see of note? Anything of note since I rewatched Mission Impossible 4, 5, 6 before I saw Dead Reckoning, which we might have talked about briefly on another episode, but Mike and I did a whole hour on that on Cruise Club. Movie's great. Love it so much. Go check it out. Hope the part 2 comes out next summer.
I've heard nothing but good things from you and everybody else.
It's amazing. It's so good. It's so good. There's a show. Did you and Rachel watch a couple years ago? The guy Boots Riley did the movie Sorry to Bother You with Lakeith Stanfield.
Yes, because I think it was an Oscar nom. And I think we...
No Oscar noms. It was a very weird movie. There were like horse people. Lakeith Stanfield was in it. Tessa Thompson was in it. Armie Hammer was in a pre-cancellation. It's a surreal, really weird comedy film that was very good. Anyway, that guy did a show on Amazon that was 7 episodes called I'm a Virgo, and it's about this 13-foot tall kid in San Francisco or Oakland, Bay Area again.
Okay.
Which is mostly good. Like, there's some really good ideas, but I don't think overall it works. And then yesterday or this weekend on Netflix, They Cloned Tyrone came out, which is a new movie by a director I don't know, but it stars John Boyega from the new Star Wars movies, and also Jamie Foxx is in it, and Kiefer Sutherland's the bad guy. And it's not the same, and I feel like comparing it directly to I'm a Virgo is like, oh, they're just black movies about black communities, and like that's not, but like they're similar enough in that like they're talking about like white people ruining the black experience, and like there's like science fiction fantasy elements.
I thought you were going to say Scientologist.
No, I don't think. I mean, it's in that kind of like culty kind of thing, whatever. But like they're similar enough that like They Cloned Tyrone being really good and is as good as it is makes I'm a Virgo seem kind of even messier and more chaotic. Like I watched it alongside Bob. Like we didn't watch it together, but like we just like, because the other people we talk about TV shows with, like, weren't going to like this. So we both kind of watched it and talked about it. And, like, he kept saying, I wish it was a movie, I'm a Virgo, instead of a TV show. Because, like, it just felt like it was too long. And, like, I think that's kind of fair.
They're
but, like,
adding shit in type situation.
But They Cloned Tyrone was really good. So I'd say check that out if you have Netflix. A good kind of, like, funny, sort of serious science fiction, kind of fantasy, worth doing. I finally watched Bowfinger. We did that for 1999 on the podcast. Have you seen Bowfinger with Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy?
Way back in the day.
It was one of John's favorite movies from 1999. It's one that he'd been looking forward to. He was very excited, very hyped for me to see it. I was a little worried about it because, like, the last time John was this excited for me to see a new movie was The Mummy, and I didn't like The Mummy.
Oh, really?
But,
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't bad. I was just like, I think it had been built up too much, but I really like Bowfinger a lot, so go check out Bowfinger. I don't know when that episode's... We're doing a couple episodes.
I don't remember this at all, though. I remember the title, and I remember the movie poster, but I don't remember.
Steve Martin is, like, the head guy at this, like, struggling little movie studio in L.A., and he wants to get Eddie Murphy in his movie, but Eddie Murphy doesn't want to do the movie, so he comes up with this plan to, like, sneakily, secretly shoot scenes with him, like, walking on the street and just adding into the movie. And it's very weird, very funny. And then Eddie Murphy also plays his identical twin brother, Jiff. And so he's in the movie and whatever. And so it's very funny. It's very sweet. It's one of the better movies from 1999, I think, that, I had never seen for sure. So, again, that'll be out sometime in August, I think, for 19... Because John's going to England for a while on vacation, so we're doing a couple extra bonus episodes. And then I saw Barbenheimer, so we'll wait to talk about Barbie until that. But Oppenheimer... So from here on, I'll make a note of the time in the episode description if you have not seen Oppenheimer yet and you want to skip it, because we can spoil it. But starting now, Oppenheimer spoilers. What did you think of Christopher Nolan's newest film, Oppenheimer?
I do really bad with super long movies. You know that, like, I don't have the attention span for them. But I fucking loved Oppenheimer.
Really?
I thought it was really good. I really, really liked it. I thought that the pace was really good for a 3-hour movie. It felt almost like Gilmore Girls in the sense that they talk really fast. Like, they're just, like, cranking. And I think that that's an interesting way to convey a sense of urgency and frantic energy. Right? Like, because it was nervous and frantic, and to convey it by doing that, there's not, like, a lot of, like, open breathe. I thought there was going to be a lot more, like, monologues and, like, slow discussions, because it's 3 hours long, and it's not. They're like,
It's kind of like a stage show, almost. A stage play.
Yeah.
Like, where it's, like, there's people, like, back and forth, rapid dialogue.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just cranking. I thought it looked beautiful. I liked all the acting. I thought the writing was good. There's, like, that one scene where he's standing there giving the, like, speech that, like, everything starts to kind of... Like, that was, like, one of the most interesting shots I've seen in a very long time.
Where, like, the sound drops away.
Yes. I really, really enjoyed that. And that stuck, like, is, like, seared into my brain. So I liked it. I saw that you didn't like it as much. What did you not like it as much about it?
I thought it was really well made, and I was so bored by it.
Really?
I don't
Why?
give a shit about it. I think...
Why? Just like you just don't like the story, or what?
I don't care about the story. I was very annoyed by, once again, him giving the women nothing to do. Like, there's 2.5 women in this movie.
Spoiler alert, Joey. The women had nothing to do. Like, that was just historically accurate. I get it.
You don't have to write a movie like that, though, because Florence Pugh was just there to be naked and have sex with him.
That's true.
Emily Blunt is just there to, like, be... I don't like being a mom and then come and have, like, one nice moment at the end, but it's in defense of him. And then Olivia Thirlby has, like, 2 lines and she's on screen for, like, 30 seconds. And, like, I know that the time was dominated by men, but, like, there's other stories to tell, or there's ways to bring them in or something. And it's just, like, I was just so... Like, every actor, I think, is good. Everyone, like, there's nothing bad about it, but I was just, like...
Not the story you wanted to see.
Because I didn't know anything about, like, I knew what it was about. I knew it was about Oppenheimer, who created the atomic bomb, and, like, reckoning with, like, what that means for him and the world and all this, whatever. And, like, I didn't know specifically beyond that. And it was getting such hype, and people were like, this is the best and most important movie of the century. Like, these people who, like, have, like, very serious, like, worthwhile takes about movies. And I'm just like, okay, like, this is, like, okay, serious business. All right. And then I go there, and I'm just like, it's so dour, and it's like...
They made an atomic bomb.
I know, but it's just like but it's not. It's also not like
you wanted the happy version
but it's not
of
even,
it.
like, visually, like, so people, like, before I saw it, they're like, well, how are you seeing it? Like, how should I see it? Like, should I see it in 70 millimeter? I'm like, well, if you can see anything in 70, you should go see it. And, like, I don't even know if you need to see this in theaters. Like, I want you to, because I want movie theaters.
No, I think you need to see it on a big screen with, like, big sound. We saw it in XD, not IMAX, not 70 millimeter.
Maybe 2 scenes with big sound out of 3 hours. There's the bomb explosion with a delay, and then there's the actual atomic test with the delay, and then there's the scene you were talking about where the sound drops out. But like
Yeah.
for a movie that I was expecting, because so many of his movies are so bombastic, and I mean that in a good way, where it's just like he's going bigger and he's shooting. Well, he didn't shoot in IMAX. He didn't have like the different thing, but like he's doing these things that like you need to see on the big screen. And I want people to see everything because I want because it's exciting to see like movie theaters really crowded.
Packed, yeah.
It's the kind of movie where I'm just like, I don't like. It's also the kind of thing where like, I don't want to see this movie again. Like, I don't know that I would get more out of it the second time. Like, I think that Benny Safdie...
I would watch it again. I would watch it again just for the cinematography because I really liked a lot of the cinematography. I wouldn't watch it again because I think it's like a great story.
I think that's the
Right.
thing. It's like, I'm a little frustrated that he is one of the like 5 directors who can basically make anything he wants, where somebody's going to be like, here's $100 or $200 million, whatever you want, it's going to make us money, right?
Yep.
And he's
Yep.
like, I'm going to tell a story that's 3 hours long of men talking to each other, talking to other men in rooms.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. Like, it feels like it could be a play, and like there's like I like the visual interludes of like when he's having like he's like visualizing like the nuclear fission or the nuclear fusion. Like those are like kind of like very cool. Like basically I don't mean this to be condescending, but like they're like the coolest screensaver you've ever seen, right? Where it's just
They
like,
are, yeah, because it's the stars and molecules and yeah.
and like there's stuff like that that's cool, but just like the movie you wanted to make, where you could make any movie, is just people in rooms talking to each other. And then like at the end, one thing that really annoyed me was, so like I had seen things before that were like, will this movie finally get Christopher Nolan and Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. their Oscars? And I'm watching this Robert Downey Jr. thing, and I really like him. I think he's a great Iron Man. Like he's the reason I like the Marvel movies. And then at the end, when they have Rami Malek go on testify, or it's not really like a trial, but like testify, whatever, speak on his behalf.
The cabinet hearings, yeah.
And he basically, spurs enough senators to like turn the ballot against him or whatever, and he doesn't get confirmed for the cabinet.
Yeah.
And
First
then,
time in like 80 years or something.
they're like, well, who did we lose? And they go,
I know.
There's
Go
this-
ahead. Yeah, this is really
there's
funny.
this
Go
young
ahead.
upstart senator trying to make a name for himself out of Massachusetts. Kennedy. John F. It's just like, yeah, no shit. Like, of course. Like, fuck. It's just like, that's to me is like on the Titanic. They're like, this art will never last. It's like, you fucking, like, you have the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah.
It's the most annoying. Like, that's not how it played out. And like, Kennedy could have been one of the 3 that flipped. Fine, by all means. But it's not like that was the way they delivered the news. Because like they're doing that with
It's
such
really funny. They
annoying
do
wink.
deliver it. They do it with like Easter egg, like
Where
yes,
people are going to
it
be
was-
like, I know him. He becomes president.
yeah,
And it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
yeah, that part's funny. Things I did like I do like the idea that you have to consider the bigger picture and
What
the
do you mean by that?
conveyance of that. That like Oppenheimer, like it's a good model for like, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. And once you open the bottle, you can't put the genie back in. You know what I mean? These kind of situations. And I think it's something that people should think about more. I also really, really liked, and I was partially frustrated with, for like a different sense, you'll see why. But Robert Downey Jr.'s like, what's his motivation? And the answer is just like, scientists just want to follow the truth. Mm-hmm. And it's like, he's like, what is he trying to do by like saying I'm a shitbag? And he's like, just tell the truth.
Yeah.
And have everybody else know the truth.
Yep.
And like, that's what his motivation is as a scientist. It's just
Well, the whole thing,
to
like,
do
it's
the
the
right
same
thing.
thing where it's just like, what were they possibly talking about at the lake? Like, what did they say about me? They're like, they're talking about other, like, it's not about you. It's about like other.
They're two
stuff.
geniuses, yeah. But I think that it's also good for people to see that, like, yes, it would be very hard to get a bunch of scientists to be in on a conspiracy theory just by the nature of how this
Right.
works,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Like, and that's a good thing to remind people a lot of the time. That, like,
For sure.
it's hard to convince 100 people to agree on anything, let alone a fake thing for some ulterior motive. Like, it's pretty hard.
Yep.
But yeah, overall, I did like it. I think you should see it on a big screen.
Like, I
if
think
you
it's
can.
technically like there's nothing bad about it other than like
No.
I just think that like it was not the movie that I wanted to see. And like, I'm not saying that Barbie is a better movie. I think Barbie is more fun.
I've heard it's a blast, and I can't wait to see it on Monday. I'm glad. Did you see them in this order? Did you see them in the reverse? Did you see Barbie,
I saw Barbie
first,
first and
then
I saw Oppenheimer.
Well, that's why you did it wrong. That's exactly what happened.
No, I wouldn't have liked Oppenheimer either way.
I'm just kidding.
But like, Barbie is just like, it's so the opposite. We're just like, let's empower all women to do whatever they want or whatever. And this is just like, all right, women, you can be naked or you can be crying.
Be a typewriter.
But you can. That's all you can do.
Oh, I forgot to say. So there is one strong woman in Oppenheimer, right?
Who?
The scientist that like tries to start the thing and.
Oh well, Olivia Thirlby, yeah.
Yes.
Who has like 2 lines, yeah.
And we're watching the movie, and Rachel and I are like, oh man, like we're like, she looks so familiar. She looks so familiar. I wonder what she's from. And then we realized it's fucking Why the Last Man that we really loved as a show that they just canceled after the first season. I was like, God damn it.
She was also in Juno. She was also in Dread. She's been in a bunch of different stuff. She's great. She's wonderful.
But like recognizing her there, I was like, why the fuck? Yeah.
I did like Benny Safdie a lot. He's the one who directed Good Time. He directed Uncut Gems with his brother.
Yeah, I recognize him. And I recognize him. I recognize he was in Good Time. And I remembered that he was the director of Good Time. So I was very proud of myself. Giant pat on the back as we were
the guy who was like petitioning all movie long for like the hydrogen bomb and all that stuff, right? Like
he did have a hydrogen bomb boner, didn't he?
He did.
Man,
but like,
this guy was really excited about it.
They developed it eventually, right? They made that.
They made it. The super. They did it.
There's no AMC Oppenheimer car, though. That'd be pretty funny that, like...
Oh, I know. So there's an AMC Barbie car. I sent it to Joey and posted it in the Discord. If you guys were in the Discord, you would have seen it. That they released a Barbie pink Corvette.
Just like the Dom Charger.
Yeah, and I was like, we should get matching ones, but this one actually comes with a Barbie, which I think makes it a little bit cooler.
Mike Manzi, the resident historian Mike Manzi, sent me the tweet that I sent to you that you can buy it through AMC's website, but it doesn't come with the Barbie. You can just buy the car, which is kind of boring.
That's lame as fuck, yeah.
I mean, I'd rather just not go to AMC. Like I said,
how much was it? How much was it for just the car?
I think it was
that link. Sorry, I didn't see the price.
I think it was $35, but you don't get the popcorn.
That's what I was. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So the Dom was $50. The Dom car was $50, but you included a large popcorn. I think the car for this was
which
$35,
was like $20. Yeah.
And the car with the popcorn and the Barbie was $65, which is a stupid amount of money. But you're like, but you get the doll. I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's the extra $15 on that one. Yeah.
I'm excited to see, like, I was talking to Jason Rainey, because Jason Rainey did not love Oppenheimer either. Like, he liked it, and he liked Barbie more. Like, I think it's a movie that, like, I don't think people are going to say is bad. It's just a movie where I'm just like, but...
I think it's going to get a ton of noms, don't you, though?
Yeah, for sure.
It feels like that, yeah, okay. Yeah.
But, like, I don't think Robert Downey Jr. deserves an acting nomination for his role. Like, Cillian Murphy can, like, I wouldn't want Cillian Murphy to win for that, I don't think, but, like, I wouldn't mind if he was nominated.
I think Robert Downey Jr. is really good. I think he's going to get a nom for sure.
But Jason made the point that he was he's very into whatever Christopher Nolan does next, because like after people didn't love Tenet, and I think Tenet was also kind of fucked a little bit by the pandemic and people didn't know what to make. I think it was like a movie that people...
What happened with Tenet? Because Rachel and I were talking about this. I don't remember specifically. Like Tenet came out was like one of the first movies back, or when?
Well, they released it to theaters before there was a vaccine. And they're like, it's only in theaters. And then like 2 or 3 months later.
Okay.
So like they're like, no, we're sticking to this. And people are just like, all right, then fuck it. I'm not going to see this movie. And then I think it was confusing and people didn't understand it or whatever. And I think it was like a little bit of like negative resentment toward Tenet as a movie. But also like the movie itself, like even in like peak times might not have been like beloved, right? Where it was just like...
Okay, yeah.
But I really liked it. Jason really liked it. I think a lot of people really liked it. Eventually, if you see it again the second time, whatever. Without the guise of like... hey, risk your health to go see this Christopher Nolan movie. Like, just like, no, fucking release it at home. Let me see it at home. But he said that Jason was saying that after Tenet kind of flopped in terms of like critical and, you know, fan reaction or whatever, he thought that Christopher Nolan would kind of get like less moody or like less like he would like lean...
It was like backpedaling.
But he like leaned into this hard in terms of like the kind of atmospheric. So he was talking about like he's excited for whatever Christopher Nolan does next, which I would be too. Like I'm not saying that like this movie was not bad and I'm not like, oh, I'm done with his movies, but I just feel like for the movie that I would want to see, and like especially having seen Dead Reckoning, which I loved, and Barbie, which I really liked, and there's so many good movies, and like I'm glad people are going to see this, but just like there's other movies out there that I wish that people would go see, but also whatever gets people to theaters, I'm happy with. It's just this particular movie.
My theater was slammed. It was good.
Yeah.
Also, like my last thought was my theater was slammed and the movie ended, and I felt a bunch of people wondering if they should start clapping or not.
Oh, the guy 2 seats down from me to my right started the round of applause, and I'm just like, I'm not going to be joining, but I respect it.
I was like I could hear everybody go like,
It is a weird thing, like, because
you know,
at
like-
film festivals, like every movie gets applause. Even if
Sure,
it's
'cause
even
you're in
if
a
it's
film
stinger.
festival.
But then, like, when you're in public, it's just like, no one's here. You're
That's gonna care.
There's something more pure, like it's somehow both more pure and more performative, because like you're literally only doing it for yourself, which is like you love it so much you want to like give it recognition. But
should you clap Oppenheimer just from on a moral ground?
man, he
That's what
really
I'm saying
killed
too.
200,000 people.
Yeah, like, woo, we did it. I was like, I don't think we should clap that either. So I saw like a bunch of people's brains do it, and I found it
Yeah,
really
the guy
funny.
like immediately like burst into applause. And I'm just like,
Are you clapping? I'm assuming you're clapping Christopher Nolan
The
for
weirdest-
making the movie.
the weirdest applause, and I might have mentioned this here, is that when I saw Kick-Ass 2, which I think is objectively one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and I almost walked out. When that movie ended, the entire theater erupted into applause. And I'm just like, what movie did you all watch that you were
Yeah,
like,
you
not
trade
only
me
did
your
I
brain-
love this, but I loved it so much that I want to applaud for it. Like, I get, like, I have no problem with people like being like, Oppenheimer's the best movie of the year. Like, that's fine. Like, I'm not gonna like knock that. Like, if you, it just didn't work
Yes,
for me.
yeah,
But
yes.
for people to be like, Kick-Ass 2, applause worthy, and be like, fuck, no, what? No, stop it.
On that note, I definitely remember our theater exploded at the end of Snakes on a Plane, and that movie does deserve a round of applause in the theater. That's exactly what that feels very appropriate. Like, in that sense, you're like, yes, that one works. Oppenheimer, I don't know if you should applause it at the end.
Any final thoughts about Oppenheimer before we end this episode?
Yeah, just that I divergently suggest that you do go see it on a big screen.
I think you should. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I think you should. And I think that people,
Yeah.
you know, because it's also the kind of movie where, like, I don't think you can really spoil it. I mean, like, you can. Like, you can explain. But, like, it's the kind of thing where just, like, you know what happens. They make the bomb. They use the bomb.
Yes, yeah.
And it's quite literally people, the men in rooms talking, which I had heard, but I'm just like, it can't be.
It's a lot of that, yeah. But it's It's like a very Game of Thronesy, right? Like it's very much like I'm gonna talk to this guy. And
Yeah,
you
but Game
talk
of
to that
Thrones,
guy.
like, I mean, I guess like they did with the Florence Pugh nudity or whatever. They're like, here's boobs, here's a guy getting his throat slit by a sword. Like, they're like, we're not only gonna have this, right? They're gonna be some jokes.
Yeah.
Like when Matt Damon shows up, I'm just like, thankfully, someone is like having a little.
I did
bit
like
of
Matt
fun.
Damon too.
Yeah.
yeah, he was having fun. I liked Matt Damon. Yeah,
But yeah,
the cast was crazy, and they just kept dropping people in that I
know.
was like, God damn.
it's like, oh, Kenneth Branagh is Niels Bohr. Okay, sweet. All right. Oh, okay, cool. Like that guy's in this too. Oh, Rami Malek's here. And like, it's cool
Yeah.
to be like, again, like that's the kind of thing where it's like, Christopher Nolan can make any movie he wants with any cast he wants.
With any
They're all gonna say
actors,
yes,
yeah.
And they're going to be like, yeah, I just won an Oscar, was nominated for an Oscar for leading Bohemian Rhapsody, but I'll be like in 6 minutes of
12
your movie,
build.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's cool.
Some
Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey, Florence Pugh, Benny Safdie, Josh Hartnett, Rami Malek, Kenneth Branagh.
Josh Hartnett
James
had a
Caan.
revival too. We were stoked to see Josh Hartnett because weren't we just talking about him when we were doing Lucky Number 11 that he had a run there and then just disappeared forever?
We were talking about, I think it was, again, me and Jason talking about Josh Hartnett being kind of like in movie jail for whatever reason. Alden
Yeah.
Ehrenreich, who is the Senate aide, he's the one who talks to Robert Downey, but he was Han Solo in the new Solo movie that people hated. And I was also saying that John Boyega was in They Clone Tyrone and people hated because what he said about Star Wars. Like, all these people like feel like they're in projects where people can be like, you know what? Like, we should get them in more stuff. But also, like, Matthew Modine, when Gary Oldman shows up as President Truman, when Casey Affleck's in one scene, it's just like, where the fuck
Casey
are these people?
Affleck too. I was like, yeah, what the fuck is Casey Affleck doing? I thought that Casey Affleck was in the doghouse forever. So interesting that he's in a Christopher Nolan movie.
Well, there's no women around for him to abuse.
Yeah, there was.
Our next movie is Fast 5.
That was a perfect. Drop the mic. Just walk away.
Our
that was
next
perfect.
movie is Fast 5 next week. And then after that is RRR, the 3-hour Bollywood movie, which I'm very excited to see. Back
Not
on
a
another
pirate
pit
movie.
stop.
Not a pirate movie.
And not 3 pirate movies. For all things Too Fast, Too Forever, go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. Email us, family@cageclub.me, or I guess if you're on a Patreon, go to that message board, TooFastTooForever.com, poke around there. I apparently
and
get
I'll respond
notified.
pretty much immediately.
Yeah. Patreon on TooFast2Forever.com, store at CageClub.me/shop, and come back next week for Fast 5. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And we will tell you all about it
when we see you again.